Yes, people, done with your break. Welcome back after break. So, guys, which topic we'll do today? Meghna. So, Advanced Tax TDS TCS Assessment Appeal Dispute Resolution Committee is pending. Miscellaneous topic is done. Penalty prosecution is pending. Black money is done. Deduction is pending. So tell me today which topic you want to study. Deduction? Let's start with the deduction topic. What do you say? कोई इजी सा टॉपिक करेंगे सर. सेटअप वाला डिफिकल्ट था लास्ट वाला. सो कोई इजी सा टॉपिक करेंगे. सो डिडक्शन लेते हैं ना. डिडक्शन तो याद रहेगा इंटरमीडिएट से. सो गाइस, या डिडक्शन this is your intermediate topic. So let's start with the deduction. So guys, so deduction topic, deduction under chapter 6a. Deduction under chapter 6a. Obviously we will able to complete tomorrow only. We will start today. Let's try to wind up certain section today. So deduction under chapter 6a. Now guys, always remember this deduction under chapter 6a is restricted to your gross total income. Means deduction is restricted to gross total income. Means for an example, your gross total income is suppose 7 lakh. And guys, your deduction under chapter 6a is for an example 9 lakh. So question is that can we claim the 9 lakh, means can we claim the 7 lakh and carry forward the remaining 2 lakh for the next year deduction? Answer is no. Here you can claim the maximum deduction that is restricted to GTI, and guys, that remaining deduction of the 2 lakh is going to be lapse. It cannot be carry forward to the next year. So always remember, deduction is restricted to the GTI and deduction cannot be carry forward to the next year. Now next point says that deduction under chapter 6a is not allowed against the LTCG or LTCG 112A or STCG 111A or any special rate of tax of income. So guys, this deduction under chapter 6a is not allowed against the LTCG. Suppose you are having the LTCG that 20% LTCG, or the LTCG 112A that 10%, or STCG 111A that 15%, or a special rate of tax of income. Against this income, this deduction is not allowed. Means against the special rates of income, these deductions are not allowed. Now we are going to start with the deduction. Guys, deduction is of the two type. One is your payment related deduction and one is the income related deduction. We will discuss the income related deduction tomorrow. First, today we will start with the payment related deduction. And in payment related deduction, first section is the ATC, and ATC is your favorite section. Specified investment. If you made certain investment, here list is given. So if you made this investment, then you can claim the deduction under section ATC. But ATC deduction is available only to individual and HUF. Guys, whether that individual HUF is resident or non-resident, this deduction is allowed. Because here eligible assessee is an individual or HUF. And guys, amount of deduction is maximum 1,50,000 deduction is allowed. Maximum 1,50,000 deduction is allowed under this section. Now, what are the eligible investment here? So eligible investment means first take the life insurance policy and pay the life insurance premium. So if life insurance policy premium is paid, then you can claim the deduction, but life insurance policy should be taken on whose name? So guys, in case of the individual, that policy should be taken either on that individual name or in the name of the spouse or in the name of the children. So policy should be taken in the name of that individual or the spouse or the children. And in case of the HUF, this policy is taken on any member name. So guys, in case of the individual, that policy should be taken in the name of this himself or the spouse or the children, and in case of HUF, policy is taken in name of any member. Now one more point here, guys. Self, spouse or children, like children means children, whether that is a married, unmarried, dependent, not dependent, nothing is written. Children means children. So even my son is not dependent, then also deduction is available to me. Answer is yes, if I have taken the any life insurance policy. Now one more point here, like children, dependent, not dependent, married, unmarried, nothing is given, means just a children, then you can claim the deduction under ATC. Policy is taken in the name of the assessee himself or the spouse or children, or in case of HUF, any member, then deduction is allowed. Now guys, if you remember, then you know that we have discussed this concept earlier in the capital gain also. There is some restriction on the premium payment. If premium is more than that limit, then that premium is not allowed here. If premium is more than this limit, then premium is not allowed. Now what are the limits? So limit is, guys, if policy is taken before 1/4/2012, suppose policy taken before 1/4/2012, then premium limit is whatever premium you paid or 20% of policy value, whichever is lower, that deduction is allowed. And guys, if limit is crossed, then you know that maturity is taxable, that we already discussed in the TDS topic, as well as we have discussed in the capital gain when I was teaching about this part of the life insurance policy. So here if policy is taken before 1/4/2012, then guys, premium limit is whatever premium you paid or 20% of policy value, whichever is lower. If policy is issued on or after 1/4/2012, then guys, here limit is a premium paid or 10% of policy value, whichever is lower. So premium paid or 10% of policy value, whichever is lower. Now a premium policy is taken on or after 1/4/2013 for the person with the disability under section 80U or any person suffering from the specified disease under section 80 DDB, then guys, this premium limit is a premium paid or 15% of policy value, whichever is lower. So guys, first we have discussed that section ATC. ATC deduction is available to the individual or HUF. Maximum deduction is 1,50,000. First is life insurance policy premium. Now question is that is we have to take the life insurance policy only from the LIC or any other insurance company also? Right answer is any other insurance company also. There is no need to take the policy from the LIC. You can take the policy from any other company also. Means you can take the policy from any other company. Any other company means you can take the policy from the policy from the ICICI Prudential or HDFC Life also. Life insurance policy is there. Then you can claim the deduction. But there is a limit on the premium. A policy taken before 1/4/2012, then guys, premium paid or 20% of policy value, whichever is lower. A policy taken on or after 1/4/2012, then premium paid or 10% of policy value, whichever is lower. A policy is taken on or after 1/4/2013 on the person of the disability or person is suffering from the specified disease, then premium paid or 15% of policy value, whichever is lower. Now guys, next is just invest in the public provident fund. So if you invest in the public provident fund, then also deduction is available. But question is that's a public provident fund in the name of, in case of individual, PPF can be taken in the name of the self assessee or spouse or children, and in case of the HUF, any member, then you paid the public provident fund amount, deduction is available. Now next part, if employee contributed towards the statutory provident fund or recognized provident fund or approved superannuation fund, then guys, employee can claim the deduction. So whatever the employee's own contribution, employee's own, suppose if any person is an employee and EPF is deducted and paid to the government. Now in case of EPF, that EPF is a statutory provident fund or a recognized provident fund or approved superannuation fund, then employee can claim the deduction. Next is just invest in the NSC. NSC means National Savings Certificate. National Savings Certificate, if you investment made in the National Savings Certificate, deduction is allowed. And guys, National Savings Certificate, if any interest is received, then first that interest is taxable under other sources. First that interest is taxable under other sources. But guys, after that you can claim the deduction on that interest also. So here, for an example, in the current year, suppose you invested in the NSC, National Savings Certificate of the 1 lakh. So you claim the deduction under ATC. Next year on the NSC, suppose there is an interest of the 7,500. So the 7,500 first taxable under income from other sources. And guys, on that interest also you can claim the deduction under section ATC. On that interest also you can claim the deduction under section 80C. On that interest also you can claim the deduction under section 80C. So what I am saying that first, this interest is taxable under income from other sources, and on that interest you can claim the deduction under section 80C. So in case of the NSC means National Savings Certificate, deduction is available under 80C, but if interest is received, that interest is also taxable under first IFOS. On an interest also you can claim the deduction under section 80C. Now guys, next part. There is a repayment of loan taken from bank for a financial institution for purchase or construction of the house, and repayment of loan, again read it, repayment of loan taken from bank or financial institution for the purchase or construction of the house. Then guys, principal payment deduction is available under section 80C. So suppose if you have taken the housing loan, then guys, can I say that in housing loan there will be a two part? In housing loan, there will be a two part. One is the interest and one is the principal. In case of housing loan, interest deduction is available under section 24B of the house property, and principal deduction is available under section 80C. Principal deduction is available under section 80C. Now, second point is, okay guys, you know that under interest 24B house property, there loan can be taken either for purchase or construction or repair or renovation. But guys, here that deduction is available only if the loan is taken either for purchase or construction. Means if loan is taken for the repair or renovation, then principal repayment deduction under 80C is not available. It is available only if loan is taken for purchase or construction. Now one more point. Under interest, section 24B, loan can be taken from any person. Loan can be taken from any person means it can be taken from the bank, financial institution, NBFC, any person, like your relative, friends, family, any person. But guys, here loan should be taken from either from banks or any financial institution. If his loan is taken from the relative or any like friends and all, then principal repayment deduction is not available. Because if you read the line here, what they have mentioned, repayment of loan taken from the bank or financial institution for purchase or construction of the house, then only deduction is available. And one more point guys, construction should be completed. Then only this deduction is available. If construction is not completed, then this deduction is not available. Construction should be completed. Then on the principal repayment, you can claim the deduction under section 80C. Now next part. If you have taken any fixed deposit of the 5 year or more with the bank or post office, schedule bank or post office, that is called tax saver FD. If you are having the mobile banking, then you can check in your mobile bank whenever you will get the time. Then guys, in the FD option, in the like a fixed deposit option, there is an option of the tax saver FD. Tax saver FD means any FD of the 5 years or more is called your tax saver FD. So under tax saver FD, if you invested for the 5 year or more, then guys, on that FD amount you can claim the deduction. So suppose I made the FD of the 1 lakh rupees, then I can claim the deduction under section 80C, but that FD should be of the 5 years or more, at least 5 years FD. Now if you paid the tuition fees for the education of your children, means suppose if my son is studying in the class 2 and this is for the education purpose, if I paid the tuition fees, I can claim the deduction. But here guys, maximum 2 children, and that should be the full-time education and education in India. Means maximum 2 children means deduction is available for maximum 2 children. Education is a full-time education and education should be in the India. Education should be in India. Then I can claim the deduction. Now question is, suppose you have purchased the DT lecture. Is that is called tuition fees? Answer is no. Tuition fees means your full-time education. Full-time education means your school education or your college education. That is called full-time education, regular education. And you know that in the college receipt, there was a one like part was the tuition fees. In your college, when you took the admission in your college, then in college that fees, that there was a one point related to the tuition fees. So that tuition fees deduction is available under this section. So here tuition fees paid for the education for the children, maximum 2 children for the full-time education in India. Maximum 2 children for the full-time education in India. Now next part is related to the just purchase the bonds of the NABARD. You can claim the deduction. Or just invest in the senior citizen saving scheme, you can claim the deduction. Or just invest in the unit linked insurance policy, you can purchase the ULIP. So that is also like life insurance policy, you can claim the deduction. or guys just purchase the notified units of the mutual fund or UTI, then you can claim the deduction. Mutual fund units or UTI, notified unit under section 80C, you can claim the deduction. Or suppose if you have taken any pension plan of the UTI or mutual fund, only UTI or mutual fund pension plan is covered here. So any UTI or mutual fund pension plan you have taken, then you can claim the deduction here. Now guys, next is a just invest in the Sukanya Samriddhi account scheme. Sukanya Samriddhi account scheme. This is invented, or you can say that started by the Narendra Modi government. Okay, if for any of girl child, means your girl child, or suppose for a girl child you are a legal guardian, and if you have opened any account of the Sukanya Samriddhi account scheme of that girl, and if you deposit anything, you can claim the ATC deduction. And guys, on the Sukanya Samriddhi account scheme, whatever interest that interest is also exempted. Sukanya Samriddhi account, if there is any interest, that interest is exempted, and if you investing in the Sukanya Samriddhi account scheme, then you can claim the deduction under section 80C. So what this point says, can deposit in the Sukanya Samriddhi account scheme for any girl child of an individual or girl child for whom such individual is a legal guardian, then he may invest in the name of that girl, that is Sukanya Samriddhi account scheme. It can be opened with any bank, guys, like government bank and all. You can claim the deduction. Now next is a point number 14. If you paid the stamp duty or registration fees for the acquiring any house property, means when you purchase the house property, and guys, that time, purchase time, you know that you pay the registration fees as well as the stamp duty. So if you paid any stamp duty or registration fees for acquiring the house property, then you can claim the deduction under section 80C. Now one more point, point number 15. This is only for the central government employee. If central government employee as a contribution to the specified account of the pension scheme referred under section 80CCD for the fixed period of the 3 years or more in the NPS tier 2. So guys, in the NPS there are two tier. One is the tier 1, tier 2. So in tier 1, if you invest anything, then you will get the deduction under 80CCD, that we will discuss today, 80CCD. But suppose if any central government employee is investing in the tier 2, then he can get the deduction under section 80C. So if central government employee of the central government, if he is invested in the NPS tier 2 and he is going to held that for the 3 years or more, then guys, he can get the deduction under section 80C. And last is, if you invested in the National Housing Bank term deposit scheme, that is called your tax saving. So National Housing Bank invested in the National Housing Bank term deposit scheme 2008, you can get the deduction under section 80C. So guys, for the 80C there are total 16 investment. If you made any investment, you can get the deduction under section 80C. So what I am saying, that try to understand, this section is applicable only to individual and HUF. Maximum deduction 1,50,000. Now guys, just invest in the life insurance policy, pay the life insurance premium for the individual, for himself, spouse or children, for HUF, any member. Guys, there is a limit. Now what are the limit? If premium paid, if policy taken before 1/4/2012, then premium should not be more than 20% of the policy value. Policy taken on or after 1/4/2012, then 10% limit. If policy is taken on the handicap, or if any person is suffering from the disability or specified disease, then that limit is a 15% if policy is taken on or after 1/4/2013. Second is invest in the public provident fund. Third is employee contribution to the SPF, RPF or ASF. After that, if you invested in the NSC, if you repaid the loan, housing loan, if you repaid, then when loan was taken for the purchase or construction of the house property, and repayment of the loan and house property construction is completed, you can take the deduction here under ATC. Fixed deposit in the post office or schedule bank for at least 5 years or more. Now tuition fees is paid for the education of children, maximum 2 children for the full-time education in India. If invested in the bonds of the NABARD, deposit in the senior citizen saving scheme, if contribution towards the unit linked insurance policy, if notified units of the mutual fund or UTI is purchased, or pension scheme of UTI mutual fund is purchased, Sukanya Samriddhi account scheme, stamp duty or registration fees at the time of acquisition of house property, or central government employee contributed in the tier 2 of the NPS, then he can claim the deduction under ATC. And last is National Housing Bank tax saving term deposit is taken, then you can claim the deduction under section 80C. Now guys, next section is a 80CCC. This section is applicable here. Deduction is applicable only to individual. So in your book, if individual and HUF is written now, then just remove this HUF. If HUF is written, then just remove this HUF. Here it is about pension scheme. So here 80CCC. This section says that contribution to the pension fund of the LIC or any other insurance company. So suppose if you have taken the pension plan of LIC or any other insurance company, then you can claim the deduction under section 80CCC of maximum 1,50,000. But you may be thinking that, sir, under 80C also there was a pension scheme, na? But you know that under section 80C there was a pension plan of the UTI or mutual fund. Means UTI or mutual fund pension plan was covered in 80C. So UTI mutual fund pension plan, then 80C. If there is a LIC or any other insurance company mutual like pension plan, LIC or any other insurance company pension plan, then guys there is a 80CCC. So here if UTI or mutual fund pension scheme, then 80C. If there is a LIC or any other insurance company pension plan, then guys 80CCC, and here deduction is available maximum 1,50,000. Here deduction is available maximum 1,50,000. Now guys, there is a section 80 CCD. I will teach you CCD. After that, we will check the question also. CCD is interesting. Pay attention. Okay. We'll discuss about the CCD. Pay attention. All people pay attention. So here, one very interesting section 80 CCD. Section 80 CCD. And you have to remember this. You have to remember this. We'll take one example, and from the help of that example, we'll understand everything from 80 CCD. For an example, there is a one employee, name is Miss Nehal. Miss Nehal. And Miss Nehal is an employee, and Nehal is working with one company called HUL, Hindustan Unilever Limited. Nehal is working with HUL, Hindustan Unilever Limited. Now suppose Nehal's salary for a previous year salary is 10 lakh rupees. This is just an example. Nehal, don't worry, your salary will be 10 times of 10 lakh. But this is just an example. Okay, your salary is a 10 lakh. This is only for the purpose of this example. Your salary is 10 lakh. Now what happened? Suppose for an example, here HUL is contributed to the NPS, New Pension Scheme Trust, and Nehal also contributed to the NPS. NPS means New Pension Scheme Trust. Guys, this section 80 CCD is for the new pension scheme. Some people call it new pension scheme. Some people call it national pension scheme. So you can call it new pension scheme or national pension scheme, your choice, NPS. Or many people call it central government pension scheme, or many people call it the Atal Pension Yojana. Atal Pension Yojana. So you can call it Atal Pension Yojana also. So new pension scheme, national pension scheme, central government pension scheme, Atal Pension Yojana, and you can check there is a website of the new pension scheme. So I'm just showing you the website of this pension scheme. So new pension scheme or national pension scheme, you can call it. So here national pension scheme also you can call it, national pension scheme. So here guys, it is called NPS, national pension scheme. And for the National Pension System Trust, this is the website, NPS Trust, enpsnsdl.com, and on this you will get the detail. So it is also known as the National Pension System or Atal Pension Yojana, and you can register yourself here. You will get one PRAN number, PRAN number, and you can invest in the NPS, New Pension Scheme or National Pension Scheme. Okay, so guys, National Pension Scheme, you can call it National Pension Scheme or Central Government Pension Scheme. So this is one website of the National Pension System Trust. You may invest through this trust. Now what happened? NPS means National Pension System or National Pension Scheme. Now what happens? Suppose HUL paid 1,20,000, means HUL contribution is 1,20,000, as well as Nehal contribution is also 1,20,000 to the NPS trust. So here Nehal also invested 1,20,000 and HUL also paid 1,20,000, that is employer contribution. Now what will be the tax treatment of this? So guys, always remember, if HUL paid this 1,20,000 na, then this 1,20,000 paid for the benefit of Nehal. So this 1,20,000 will be taxable, means 1,20,000, this 1,20,000 is going to be taxable in hands of Nehal, under salary. So guys, this 1,20,000 paid by employer na, this is going to be taxable in hands of Nehal under the head salary. So 1,20,000 is total taxable in hands of the Nehal. Now first we will discuss about HUL. Yes sir, when HUL Hindustan Unilever Limited, HUL paid 1,20,000 towards the NPS trust. Question is that can HUL can claim the deduction under the head PGBP or not? Answer is yes. HUL can claim the deduction under the head PGBP. But if you remember, in the PGBP there was one section 36 subsection 1, and I think clause number, there was a clause number also, like 4 or 5 was the clause. That clause says that here deduction under PGBP is allowed to HUF, but that deduction is allowed whatever the contribution made by HUF, that is 1,20,000, or it is allowed up to 10% of the salary. And guys, here salary is a 10 lakh rupees, so 10% of salary comes to the 1 lakh. So maximum deduction can be allowed under the head PGBP is a 1 lakh. So maximum deduction under PGBP is allowed to the company HUL, that is 1 lakh. So 1 lakh deduction can be claimed by the HUL under the head PGBP. There is no issue in this. So in simple word, this 1,20,000 is taxable in hands of Nehal under the head salary. And guys, this 1 lakh deduction can be claimed by the HUL under the head PGBP, because 10% of salary or 1,20,000, whichever is lower. Now guys, here some deduction is allowed to the Nehal. Here Nehal will claim the deduction. So pay attention now. Guys, Nehal will claim some deduction, and this deduction is allowed under section 80 CCD subsection 1 and 80 CCD subsection 2. 80 CCD 1 and 80 CCD 2. Now how much deduction can be claimed by Nehal under 80 CCD 1 and 80 CCD 2? So here under 80 CCD 1, lawmaker says that whatever employee own contribution, means whatever the employee contribution or 10% of salary, whichever is lower, is allowed under section 80 CCD 1. So under section 80 CCD 1, that employee's contribution or 10% of salary, whichever is lower. So guys, can I say that Nehal contributed 1,20,000 in this example, and 10% of salary is a 1 lakh. So here Nehal will get the deduction of the 1 lakh under section 80 CCD 1. Now there is a 80 CCD 2. 80 CCD 2 says that Nehal will get the deduction in 80 CCD 2 for the whatever employer's contribution. So whatever employer contribution or 10% of salary, employer contribution or 10% of salary, whichever is lower. So guys, can I say that employer contributed here 1,20,000 and 10% of salary comes to the 1 lakh. So guys, can I say that here whichever is lower is a 1 lakh. So here 1 lakh deduction will be claimed by Nehal on the employer contribution also. So guys, there are 80 CCD 1 and 80 CCD 2. 80 CCD 1 is about the employee's own contribution. 80 CCD 2 is for the employer's contribution, but deduction is allowed to the Nehal. Means Nehal will claim the 80 CCD 1 and 80 CCD 2. Now guys, here instead of the 10%, here it will be a 14%, if Nehal is a central government or state government employee. So if Nehal is a central government or state government employee, then instead of the 10%, there will be a 14% on under section 80 CCD 2. So employer contribution or 14% of salary, whichever is lower, only when Nehal is a central government or a state government employee. Now one more point. Guys, this is about the employee, that is called a salaried employed. But what about the self-employed? If any person is a self-employed, so is self-employed can claim the deduction under this section or not? Earlier it was not allowed. But after some time, they have allowed the deduction for the self-employed also. Guys, for the self-employed means a person who is not an employee, who is a self-employed. So for the self-employed person, here deduction is allowed. But for self-employed person, that deduction is allowed under section 80 CCD subsection 1. Under 80 CCD 1 only. But how much deduction is allowed? So here guys, that self-employed person, whatever the contribution, and guys 20% of the gross total income, whichever is lower. So for the self-employed, deduction is allowed under section 80 CCD, and that 80 CCD 1 only. And that deduction allowed that assessee's own contribution or 20% of GTI, whichever is lower. I can take an example. Suppose guys, my gross total income is for an example, my gross total income is 5,50,000. And I have made, suppose for an example, 1,40,000 as contribution to the new pension scheme. So here I made the contribution of 1,40,000 and second is at 20% of the GTI. So my GTI is 5,50,000. So here 5,50,000 multiplied by 20%, it comes to the 1,10,000. It comes to the 1,10,000. So guys, lower comes to the 1,10,000. So here I can claim the deduction of 1,10,000 under section 80 CCD 1. So this 80 CCD 1 deduction is allowed to the self-employed, means any person is not an employee, he is a businessman. So if you are a businessman, you can claim this deduction under section 80 CCD 1 of whatever your contribution or 20% of gross total income, whichever is lower, under section 80 CCD 1. Now guys, there is a one very interesting patch here, interesting point here that I need your attention. For that purpose, I need your attention. Guys, there is a one section, and that section number is 80 CCD 1B. There is a one section 80 CCD 1B. And 80 CCD 1B says that if you are claiming for your own contribution under section 80 CCD 1, 80 CCD 1 you are claiming. If total deduction under 80 CCD 1 is not allowed, then guys, here you can claim maximum 50,000 deduction under section 80 CCD 1B. So there is a one section 80 CCD 1B, and this section says that you can claim the deduction of maximum 50,000 under 80 CCD 1B. Now what is the meaning of that? Try to understand. I will explain you. Suppose for self-employed, here 80 CCD 1, my contribution was 1,40,000. And guys, that 20% of GTI is 1,10,000. So can I say that in my contribution of 140, I have claimed only 1,10,000 deduction here? So can I say that for 30,000, I have not got any deduction? So can I claim this 30,000 under section 80 CCD 1B or not? Right answer is yes, that 30,000 can be allowed here. So what I will do here, I will not take the total 1,40,000. What I will do, I will take the 30,000 deduction under 80 CCD 1B and 1,10,000 deduction here under 80 CCD 1. So 1,10,000 and here 30,000. Now instead of that, sir, can I first claim the 80 CCD 1B total 50,000 or not? Means, is it possible for on my contribution, first I claim the 80 CCD 1B of the 50,000 and on remaining I will claim the 80 CCD, on remaining I will claim the 80 CCD 1? Answer is yes, you can do that. So what I will do, suppose I made the contribution of 1,40,000. So suppose I made the contribution of 1,40,000, what I will do, first I will claim here 50,000. First I will claim here 50,000. So 50,000 I will claim here. And guys, remaining 90,000 is there. So 90,000 I will claim in the 80 CCD 1. 90,000 I will claim in the 80 CCD 1. So here guys, 90,000 will be allowed in that section. So is it possible? Answer is yes. You can claim the 80 CCD 1B first 50,000 and remaining you can claim in the 80 CCD 1. Now here in this example, Nehal example, Nehal is claiming 120 and 1 lakh, lower 1 lakh. So 1 lakh deduction is allowed. So 20,000 still deduction is not allowed. So can Nehal claim the 20,000 in 1B? Answer is yes. Nehal can claim the 20,000 in 1B. Or instead of that, it can be allowed like 50,000 first Nihal claim here, and guys only here his claim is 70,000. Is it possible? Answer is yes, it is possible. Means first claim the 1B of the 50,000 and remaining 70,000 under section 80 CCD 1. So what I am saying that there is a 180 CCD 1B deduction. This section says that under 80 CCD 1, if you have not claimed the 100% deduction, means total deduction is not allowed, then on your contribution 50,000 deduction, you can claim the under section 80 CCD 1B. And in the practical life, guys, you know that we always claim the 50,000 first here and remaining we claim in the 80 CCD 1. Why it is, I will tell you. There is a reason behind that. And that reason is, lawmakers made one section, that section number is a 80 CCE. And what 80 CCE says, you know that 80 CCE says that, okay, guys, your 80C section, that 16-17 investment, 80 CCC, that is LIC pension scheme or any insurance company pension scheme, and guys 80 CCD1. 80 CCD1 means this one, 80 CCD1, this and this 80 CCD1. This total can be maximum 1,50,000. Means aggregate of 80C, 80 CCC and CCD1. That maximum can be the 1,50,000 only. So what happened basically in the practical life, 80 CCD1 is already covered in the 1,50,000 limit. So like suppose for an example, my 80C already 1,50,000 is exhausted. So I am not going to get any deduction in 80 CCD1. So what I do, can I claim the 80 CCD1B 50,000? Answer is yes, because 80 CCD1B is not covered here. Here only 80C or 80 CCC and 80 CCD1. Means total of 80C, 80 triple C, 80 CCD1. Maximum can be the 1,50,000. Maximum deduction I can claim the 1,50,000. So guys, can I say that here under this limit, this 80 CCD2 is also not covered and 80 CCD1B is not covered. But 80C, 80 triple C and 80 CCD1 is covered. So 80C plus 80 CCC plus 80 CCD1, that total can be the 1,50,000. So practical life, you can claim the 50,000 first under 1B and remaining under that section 80 CCD1, because 80 CCD1 covered in that 1,50,000 limit. So that's the reason what we do in the practical life. First we claim the 50,000 in 80 CCD1B and remaining we claim here under 80 CCD1. You got my point or not? Yes. Now one more point. Guys, suppose you have started the NPS account. Suppose what is the meaning of salary, sir? Here we were discussing about the 10% of salary, here also 10% or 10% or 14%. Salary means your basic salary as well as dearness allowance. But dearness allowance you will consider only if that DA is in terms. In terms means the DA which is forming part of your retirement benefit. Means whenever you will retire na, then at the time of retirement there will be a retirement benefit calculation, and in that retirement benefit calculation if there is a DA, in retirement benefit calculation if there is a DA, then only that DA will be considered here. So DA means only DA for the retirement benefit, that is called salary. Now one more point, guys, suppose your account is closed, means you started the NPS account and after some time you close the NPS account, then sir what will happen? So guys, if you close the NPS account now, then lawmaker says that if you close the NPS account, then whatever amount you received, out of that 40% is taxable and 60% is exempted. 40% is taxable, 60% is exempted, means 60% is exempted like agriculture income. 40% is taxable, 60% is exempted. So suppose if you close down your NPS account and whatever amount you received, then 40% is taxable, 60% is exempted. One more point, guys. Suppose for an example, you are having any RPF account or recognized provident fund or your approved superannuation fund, and now you want to convert that RPF fund into the NPS. Can you do that without tax implication? Answer is yes. Here it is allowed. So guys, suppose earlier you are having any RPF fund, recognized provident fund or approved superannuation fund, and now you want to transfer that fund into the NPS. So can you do that or not? Answer is yes. You can do that without any tax implication. Without any tax implication, you can do that. Without any tax implication, you can do it. You got my point or not? Yes. Now one more point. Guys, I have mentioned that suppose if you close down the NPS account, then whatever amount you received, 40% is taxable. But suppose if there is a death of assessee, if there is a death and due to the death, if legal here getting any amount, that is not taxable. In case of employee as well as not employee, that is not taxable. Means if any legal here is getting the amount from the NPS, then that is not going to be taxable. That is not going to be taxable. That is not going to be taxable. You got my point or not? Yes. Now one more point. Guys, suppose if you partially withdraw the amount, is it possible or not? It is allowed to the employee. If employee started the NPS now, then guys, to the employee it is allowed partial withdrawal. Then in case of the employee, whatever contribution made by the employee, out of that, whatever contribution made by the employee, out of that, if he withdraw the 25% amount, if he withdraw the 25% amount, if he withdraw the 25% amount, then up to 25%, if he withdraw, then that is tax free. But more than 25% he withdraw, then it is taxable. For an example, there is an employee called Nehal. Till now, Nehal has contributed to the NPS account of rupees 20 lakh. So 20 lakh, out of 20 lakh, that 20%, 25% comes to the 5 lakh. So if 5 lakh, up to 5 lakh is withdrawn by the Nehal, then it is exempted. But if it is more than 5 lakh withdrawal by the Nehal, then it is going to be taxable. You got my point or not? Yes. Just read from your book, and in your book, that is page number, just check the page number in your book. But there is a one small correction also. Just do that correction. Guys, here in the 80 CCD 1, here it is written maximum 1,50,000. Just remove this. Just remove this 1,50,000. Just remove this. Amount of deduction maximum 1,50,000. Just remove this. Okay. Now read whatever given in 80 CCD subsection 1, subsection 1B, subsection 2, and after that certain notes, and 80 CCE. So whatever written on this page, just read that. And after reading this, just check some question from your compiler. Just do the question number 2 and question number 3. Just do the question number 2 and question number 3. Okay. So what you will do? First you will read. After that you will do the question number 2 and question number 3. I am going to give you some time. Just do that. Done, people? Done with question number 2 and 3. Done with question number 2 and 3? If you have done, then just say done. Yes, please do fast. Done, people? Okay. Nehal. Okay. Now, guys, there is a one new section from this year only, and that section number is 80CCH. There is new section from this year only, that is 80CCH. You know that in India there is a one new Agniveer. Agniveer means in the military you will be appointed in our Indian military for the 4 years. There is called Agniveer scheme. And guys, for the all the Agniveer, there is a mandatorily they have to contribute in the Agnipath scheme. So government came with the Agnipath scheme, that is called Agnipath scheme. Now what is the Agnipath scheme? So guys, here suppose this is the Agnipath scheme fund. So government made one fund, and this fund name is a Agniveer Corpus Fund. So this is known as the Agniveer Corpus Fund. So Agniveer Corpus Fund. So government made one fund that is called Agniveer Corpus Fund. Now guys, in this fund, employee will also contribute, means that Agniveer also contribute, and here government will also contribute. Government will also contribute means central government will also contribute, because Agniveer will be central government employee. So here government will also contribute, as well as the employee will also contribute. Now guys, whatever contribution made by employee, means that Agniveer, he will able to claim the deduction under section 80CCH subsection 1. Whatever contribution is made, here there is no limit of that 10% amount. Whatever contribution is made by the employee under Agniveer Corpus Fund, 100% deduction is allowed under CCH. Now whatever contribution made by central government, first it will be taxable under the head salary in hands of the employee. So in hands of the Agniveer, first it is going to be taxable under the head salary, and after that he can claim the deduction under section 80CCH2. And guys, here 80CCH2 100% deduction is available. So in simple word, 80CCH1 and 80CCH2. 80CCH1 says that whatever contribution made by the employee, 100% deduction is available under section 80CCS. And for the 80CCH2, 100% deduction is available for employer contribution. First it is taxable, but employee can claim the deduction here under 80CCH2. So here guys, 80CCH section, contribution to the Agnipath scheme. Now this is added by the Finance Act 2023 from this year only. This is the new section with effect from assessment year 24-25. This section says that here eligible assessees, any individual enrolled in the Agnipath scheme subscribing to the Agniveer Corpus Fund on or after 1st/11/2022. Now CCH1 says that 100% of his contribution to the Agnipath Corpus Fund, and CCH2 says that 100% of central government contribution to the Agnipath Corpus Fund. First it is taxable under the head salary, then employee can claim the deduction here. Now guys, there is a one section 12C, and this section says that any amount received by assessee or his nominee from the Agnipath Fund is exempt from the tax. So whatever amount will be received after 4-5 years, that is totally exempted. That is totally exempted. That is totally exempted. And guys, as per the Agnipath scheme, 30% of monthly package should be contributed to the Agnipath fund by the SSC, as well as central government will also contribute the matching amount. So as per that scheme, what happened? Like whatever salary of the employee, out of that 30% is contributed to the Agnipath corpus fund, and equal amount will be matched by the central government. Now, how much you have to remember here? Okay, whatever contribution made by employee, that Agniveer, and whatever contribution made by employer, that 100% deduction is allowed here to the employee under section 80 CCH1 and 80 CCH2. Employer government contribution, first it will be taxable under the head salary, and after that employer will claim the deduction. Done. Now, next is section 80D. Now, what 80D says, that this is very interesting section. Try to understand. I will explain you 80D. All people pay attention. So 80D. Section 80D. All people pay attention. 80D. I need your attention here only on the board. 80D. This section says that suppose if any person taken any mediclaim is medical insurance premium. So any mediclaim is taken, or any contribution is made to central government health scheme, any contribution is made, or suppose if any amount is spent for the preventive health checkup, or any amount is spent for the medical treatment, then you can claim the deduction. So 80D deduction, D is basically, in Hindi we call it dawa daru. Dawa daru means there is no need of any medicine and all. That's why just take the mediclaim. So D is basically, if you taken any mediclaim, medical insurance premium, central government health scheme, preventive health checkup, or medical treatment. So amount is spent for the mediclaim, medical insurance premium, central government health scheme, preventive health checkup, or medical treatment, then deduction is available. Now guys, this deduction is available only to the individual under this section, individual and HUF. This deduction is available only to the individual and HUF. It is not available to any other person. Now, sir, question is that this mediclaim or central government health scheme, preventive health checkup, medical treatment and all, this expenditure should be incurred for whom? So guys, in case of the individual, this individual should spend this amount either for himself or herself. You can say that means mediclaim is for himself or herself, as well as the spouse, and guys, as well as the children. But guys, here they mention the dependent children. So amount should be spent for himself or spouse or dependent children. So in case of the individual, that amount should be spent for the himself or spouse or dependent children, as well as deduction is allowed if mediclaim and all is taken for the parents. And guys, for the parents, they have not used the word dependent here. Dependent word is only used for the children. So individual should spend for the mediclaim and all for himself or spouse or dependent children, or guys, parents. Parents means your mother or father. Here they have not used the word. Here they have not used the word dependent. Dependent is only for children here. And guys, HUF should pay the mediclaim insurance policy premium for the any member. Then HUF can claim the deduction. Now, what is the amount of deduction? There is a very interesting part here. Guys, amount of deduction, lawmaker says that if individual is taking any mediclaim for himself, spouse or dependent children, for the all aggregate, maximum deduction is allowed for the individual is maximum 25,000. Here amount of deduction is maximum 25,000. So to individual for himself, spouse and dependent children, that maximum deduction is allowed is 25,000. Maximum deduction is allowed is 25,000. Now guys, himself or spouse, if anyone is a senior citizen, then guys, here this limit will be increased to 50,000. Means here guys, 25,000 will be the additional limit in case of the senior citizen. Means either assessee is a senior citizen or spouse is a senior citizen. And guys, if in the name of senior citizen, if many mediclaim is taken, then this limit will be increased to the 50,000. It means guys, here this 25,000 additional limit will be increased. Now for the parents, this limit is a separate 25,000. For the parents, this limit is a separate 25,000, and either of the parent is a senior citizen, and if mediclaim is taken on the senior citizen, then guys this limit will be increased by the 25,000. So here guys also maximum limit will be the 50,000. So suppose in my case, if I take the example of Mr. BB, so all people pay attention here. Mr. BB, my wife Mrs. BB, my age is 34 years, my wife age is suppose 30 years. Now my children, that is Master BB, suppose there is a Master BB, age is 6 years, and my mom and my dad. Now guys, suppose I have paid the mediclaim, that is health insurance. Also for health insurance premium I have paid, and here I have paid the health insurance premium for myself is suppose 20,000. For my wife, I have paid the 10,000. For my children, I have paid the 5,000. Now, my mom age is suppose 62 years and my father age is suppose 65 years. My mom age is 62 years. My father age is 65 years. Suppose for my mom, I have paid the 30,000 and for my father, I have paid the 35,000. Now, how much deduction I will claim? So here can I say that here for me, BB, Mrs. BB and Master BB, dependent children, for total, here I have paid the 20, 30, 35, but maximum deduction is allowed is only 25,000. Maximum deduction here allowed is only 25,000. Now for the my mom and dad also limit is a 25,000. For the parents there is a separate limit of 25,000. But if anyone is a senior citizen, that this limit is increased to the 50,000. So here guys, can I say that here I can claim the maximum deduction of the 50,000. So I will able to claim the total deduction of the 75,000. Here I will claim the total deduction of the 75,000. So total 75,000 deduction is allowed. Means for me, my wife and my dependent children 25,000 and for the parents 50,000. So here total 75,000 deduction is allowed. Now for the HUF, if any amount is paid towards the member's health insurance, then maximum limit is 25,000 for HUF. But suppose if that member is a senior citizen, then obviously 25,000 will be the additional limit. So for the HUF also that limit will be the 50,000. Now one more interesting point here. Guys, try to understand. Whatever I am going to tell you, try to understand that sentence. Lawmaker says that in case of the individual may spend for the preventive health checkup also. Preventive health checkup also possible. Now guys, there is a one condition. For the preventive health checkup, that individual can spend maximum 5,000. Means for the preventive health checkup, that deduction is allowed maximum 5,000. Means that limit is a maximum 5,000 for the preventive health checkup, because in preventive health checkup there may be a fraud. You may claim just preventive health checkup is just a normal health checkup, na? So you can claim the deduction preventive health checkup, and I will tell you that preventive health checkup amount can be paid in the cash also. It is allowed in the cash, but for the other mediclaim and all, cash is not allowed. But for the preventive health checkup, cash is allowed. So for the preventive health checkup, guys, deduction can be the maximum 5,000. It is not allowed more than 5,000. So for preventive health checkup, this deduction can be the maximum 5,000, not allowed more than 5,000. And this 5,000 is not additional. This 5,000 is not in addition of this 25,000 or 25,000 and all. So guys, it is not additionally 5,000. This 5,000 is already included. Means it is already included in this limit. And one more point, this is not a 5,000 for yours, spouse and children separately and for parents separately. No. For yourself, spouse, dependent children as well as the parent, guys, for the all person, that maximum preventive health checkup can be the 5,000, and it is already included in this limit. This is not an additional 5,000. So what I'm saying that for preventive health checkup, you can spend maximum 5,000 and it is already included in this limit. It is already included in this limit. This is not a separately 5,000. It is already included in this limit. You got my point or not? You understood my point or not? Yes, sir. We have understood your point. You got my point? Yeah. Now one more point. So I will take one example, and with the help of this example, you will able to understand. So guys, try to understand what happened. For an example, I have incurred expenditure for the health insurance as well as here it is a preventive health checkup. Suppose for me, my wife and my master, that baby, my children, dependent children, for health insurance, I have spent the 23,000 and for preventive health checkup, suppose I have spent the 4,000. And for the my mom and dad, for the health insurance, I have spent 35,000 and for the preventive health checkup, I have spent the 5,000. Now, how much deduction I will able to claim? So here, can I say that here, try to understand. Meghna, I need your attention here. Nidhi, Sharlena, try to understand. Lawmaker says that for the Mr. BB, Mrs. BB and Master BB, total limit is 25,000. So here guys, 23,000, I will claim this deduction of 23,000. And guys, here I can claim the maximum 2,000 because my maximum limit is 25,000. So from the preventive health checkup, can I say that here I will claim the 2,000 as a deduction? So here I will claim the 25,000 deduction for the me, my wife and my spouse and my children. 25,000. And guys, for my parents, that limit is a 50,000. But here it is a 35,000. Here it is a 5,000. So can I claim the total 40,000? Answer is no. Answer is no. Because for the preventive health checkup, guys, maximum I can claim the 5,000 and 2,000 deduction I already claim here. So can I say that here I will able to claim only 3,000 deduction? Here I will able to claim only 3,000 deduction. So for my parents, I will able to claim the 38,000 as a deduction. For the parents, I will able to claim the 38,000 deduction. So here guys, 25,000 and 38,000, that will be total deduction allowed to Mr. BB. You got my point or not? So I am saying that for preventive health checkup, you can claim the maximum 5,000 deduction. And guys, this 5,000 is not an additional limit. It is already included in this limit. And HUF cannot claim for the preventive health checkup. HUF cannot claim. But individual can be claimed for that. And guys, this 5,000 is already included in this limit. There is no separate limit. Now, one more point. Try to understand. Guys, you know that if any person is attained the age of the 60 years or more, means any person is a senior citizen now, then insurance company not allowed health insurance. Because insurance company know that if we allowed the health insurance, then we will be in the loss. So insurance company not allowed the health insurance if any person when age is already cross of the 60 years. So guys, for the senior citizen, only for the senior citizen, you can claim the deduction under this section for the medical treatment also. Means only for the senior citizen. This is only for the senior citizen. Medical treatment is allowed only for the senior citizen and for which there is no health insurance. Means health insurance is not there. Then you can claim for the medical treatment. Means any treatment is made, then for the medical treatment you can claim deduction under this section. But only for the senior citizen where health insurance is not there. Means if there is no health insurance, then you can spend for the medical treatment and you can claim deduction here. And for medical treatment, you can claim the maximum deduction of the 50,000. Maximum deduction of 50,000. So medical treatment deduction is allowed only for the person for whom there is no insurance, there is no health insurance. Then medical treatment expenditure is allowed, but that can be maximum 50,000. And guys, here only if that person is a senior citizen and health insurance is not there. But question is that, is this 50,000 a separate limit or is it is already included in this limit of 50,000? Because here also that senior, if any person is senior citizen, that limit will be a 50,000 now. So it is already included in overall limit of 50,000 or there is for medical treatment, there is a separate limit of 50,000. Right answer is it is already included in the overall limit of 50,000. There is no separate limit of 50,000. It is already overall limit of 50,000. I can take an example. Try to understand. Guys, suppose for an example, try to understand. All people pay attention. Try to understand. What happened? Suppose I have taken the health insurance for the me, my wife and my children. 24,000 is a health insurance premium. Now for my mom also I have taken the health insurance premium, health insurance policy, and for mom I have paid the 40,000 as premium for the mom for the health insurance. Now guys, for dad there is no health insurance, so I have paid towards the medical treatment, and for the dad I spent for the medical treatment, and guys, medical treatment expenditure is suppose 35,000. Now, how I can claim the deduction? So can I say that for me, my wife and my children, maximum 25,000. So here 24,000 is within the limit of 25,000. I will claim the deduction of 24,000. Now guys, for my mom, there is a 40,000. For my father, there is a 35,000. Its total is a 75,000. So can I claim total 75,000? Answer is no. For seniors, if parents is senior citizen, then limit is raised to the 50,000. So here I can claim the maximum deduction of the 50,000. Here I can claim maximum deduction of 50,000. For medical treatment, there is no separate deduction. It is already included in the overall deduction of the 50,000. It is already included in the overall deduction of the 50,000. You got my point or not? Yes. Now guys, one more point. This all expenditure, Mediclaim, central government health scheme, preventive health checkup, medical treatment, guys, all expenditure should be paid by any mode other than cash. But cash is allowed in the preventive health checkup. Under preventive health checkup, cash is allowed, but under any other type of payment, cash is not allowed. Now, one more point, guys, suppose if you have taken the policy for the more than 1 year, normally if you paid the premium for the 1 year policy, normally I take the every year renewal policy like Star Health. I am having the policy, even I paid in the month of the Feb, March, anytime. If I paid in the current year for the 1 year policy, then deduction is allowed in the current year. But suppose if your health insurance policy is for more than 1 year, then what will happen? For an example, guys, suppose what happened, I took the policy on the 1st July 2023 and I paid the premium of the 60,000. And guys, this policy is applicable for 3 years. Suppose health insurance policy is applicable for 3 years. Then lawmaker says that deduction will be allowed in the previous year in which that policy is in force. So policy is in force means, suppose guys, I paid the premium on 1st July 2023. So this policy will expire on the 30th June 2026, 23, 24, 25 and 26. So 30th June 2026, this policy is going to expire on 30th June 2026. And I paid the 60,000 as premium. So is 20,000 will be allowed? Answer is no. So can I say that this policy is in force from previous year 23-24? This is in force in 24-25 also. This is in the force in 25-26 also. In the 26-27 also, this is for the like 3 month na. So here the total previous year will be 4 previous year. Here total previous year is a 4 previous year. So it will be divided by 4 and every year I will claim the deduction of the 15,000 only. Now you are saying that sir, policy is taken for 3 years, then also deduction is allowed in 4 year. Answer is yes. Because lawmaker says that deduction will be allowed in the previous year in which that policy is into the force. So policy was into the force from the previous year 23, 24, 24, 25, 26, 27. So deduction will be allowed in the 4 previous years. You got my point or not? You understood my point or not? Yes. Guys, one more point. In the compact, it is given about the health insurance. Now remember here, like for the individual, for self, spouse and dependent children and parents, health insurance is allowed. Central government health scheme is allowed only for the assessee, spouse and children. For the parents, it is not allowed, as well as for the HUF, it is not allowed. And guys, that preventive health checkup is allowed for the assessee as well as the parent. For the HUF, that preventive health checkup is not allowed. Now I am going to give you time. Whatever given in section 80D, just read it and after that just do the question number. After that, from your compiler, just do the question number 4. Just do the question number 4. After reading that, just do the question number 4. Done, people? Done? Say done. If you have done, then just say done. Nidhi, कर लेना. Question number 4. Deduction is easy topic, na? Say done. Done, sir, done. So this was the section 80D. Now guys, there is a one section 80DD. 80DD. Now what this section 80DD says? 80DD, there is a next section 80DD. But before 80DD, I will teach you one section 80U. 80U section says that if any person is a handicapped person, and that person is a resident individual, and guys, in case of the handicapped person, resident individual, deduction is allowed. Normal disability, then deduction is allowed 75,000. But if there is a severe disability, then guys, deduction is allowed. Severe disability means 80% or more disability, then deduction is allowed for 1,25,000. So this deduction is allowed to the handicapped assessee. There is no need of any investment. There is no need of any amount should be spent and all. Guys, here in case of the resident individual, if that person is a handicapped, then amount of deduction is normal disability 75,000, severe disability 1,25,000. Severe disability means there is a disability of 80% or more. That is called severe disability. So under severe disability there is 1,25,000, normal disability 75,000. There is no need of any amount to be spent and all. So here handicapped assessee can claim the deduction under this section. Now guys, there is a one section 80DD. 80DD says that you can remember 80DD by way of the dependent disable. So suppose if assessee is not a disable, assessee is not a handicapped, but suppose if there is a dependent relative is a handicapped. Dependent relative is a handicap means HDR, handicap dependent relative. If relative is a handicapped and this assessee is spending some amount either for treatment of that person, that handicap dependent relative, or for the maintenance of that HDR, he is depositing some amount with the LIC or any other insurance company and all. If he is depositing some amount with the LIC or any other insurance company and all for the maintenance purpose, or for the treatment, he is spending anything for the HDR. HDR means handicap dependent relative. Then guys, here deduction can be claimed as 75,000 or 1,25,000 of the flat deduction, irrespective of the any amount of expenditure. Means even expenditure is paid is only 10 rupees. Means 10 rupees expenditure is incurred by the assessee for maintenance of the HDR or for the treatment of the HDR. Then guys, deduction here allowed is a flat deduction of 75,000 or 1,25,000. Means normal disability 75,000, severe disability 1,25,000. Means deduction is a flat deduction. Even amount spent is very less, even 10 rupees. Then also deduction is allowed is 75,000 or 1,25,000. So here what this section says. 80DD, medical treatment or maintenance of the handicap dependent relative, that is HDR. Now this deduction is available to the resident individual or HUF. Deduction is a flat 75,000 or 1,25,000. And guys, what you need to do? Assessee should incur the expenditure on either medical treatment or deposit any amount for the maintenance of the handicap dependent relative. But question is that who will covered here in the relative means your near and dear relative, means children, mother, father, brother, sister. So children, mother, father, brother, sister and spouse, they are called your relative. So in case of the individual, relative is a spouse, brother, sister, children and mother, father. Is your grandparents is your relative here? Answer is no, grandparents is not a relative. Here relative means only your spouse, brother, sister, children, mother, father, they are all your relative. Now in case of the HUF, any dependent member of the HUF is a relative. In case of the HUF, any dependent member of the HUF is a relative. Now guys, so under this section is very simple. Suppose in case of me, for an example, my any dependent relative is a handicapped and suppose I did spend on the treatment or maintenance, then guys I can claim the deduction of 75,000 or 1,25,000 flat deduction here. Just I have to spend the expenditure on the medical treatment or deposit any amount for the maintenance of such handicap dependent relative. Now, who is your relative? For individual, like spouse, children, brother, sister, and mother, father, they are relative. For the HUF, any member is a relative, but that should be a dependent. Now, guys, there is a one point, and this point says that deduction will be reverse if dependent handicapped relative received the annuity before the death of assessee. Suppose before my death, if that handicapped dependent relative is receiving the annuity because I made the investment for his name, so he is receiving the annuity. Or guys, before the attaining age of 60 years, means I have not attained the age of 60 years, but my handicap dependent relative is receiving the annuity, then whatever deduction I claim earlier, that will be reversed. But this is not relevant for the examination point of view. For examination, obviously they will not ask you. But what this point says that, guys, suppose before my death or before I have attained the 60 years of age, that HDR is getting the annuity, then whatever deduction I have claimed earlier, that will be reversed. That will be reversed. Okay, one more point here, guys. Under this section, now there may be a doubt in your mind. Sir, if your dependent relative is a handicap, you are claiming deduction under 80DD. So is that person can also claim deduction under section 80U or not? Answer is obviously no. Because suppose if he is earning the income, then he will claim the deduction under 80U. And when he is earning the income, it means he is not dependent on me. So he will claim the 80U. When he is not earning the income, so I can say that he is dependent on me. So I will claim the deduction under section 80DD. You got my point or not? Yes. So what this particular section 80DD says that, guys, 80DD is your disabled dependent or dependent disabled. Now, if your handicap dependent relative is there, you just spend for the treatment or maintenance, whatever the amount, even 10 rupees, then also you will claim the deduction of 75,000 or 1,25,000. Done. Now, next section is at 80DDB. 80DDB is basically deduction in respect of medical treatment of the specified disease. Specified disease means like a cancer and all, that type of disease is called specified disease. You can remember DDB by डरावनी बीमारियां. In Hindi we call it डरावनी बीमारियां या दिल दहला देने वाली बीमारियां. So दिल दहला देने वाली बीमारियां, that is 80DDB. So 80DDB means, guys, under this section, deduction is allowed to the individual or HUF. And suppose if any person is suffering from the specified disease, now there is no need to remember the name of the specified disease. Examiner will give you the specified disease. And guys, if any person is suffering from a specified disease, either assessee is suffering or any dependent relative is suffering. Either assessee is suffering or any dependent relative is suffering. And if you spend anything for the purpose of the treatment of that specified disease, then deduction is allowed under this section. So under this section, what will be the deduction? Whatever actual amount spent or 40,000 rupees or 1 lakh, whichever is lower. 40,000 in the normal case and 1 lakh in case of the senior citizen. So in case of the senior citizen, patient is a senior citizen, then 1 lakh, otherwise there is a 40,000 and actual amount is spent, whichever is lower. But suppose if any amount is received from the insurance company, then it will be reduced. So I can take an example. Suppose for an example, any dependent relative is suffering from a specified disease, and suppose I have spent 1,20,000 on the treatment. Now maximum limit here is a 40,000. Suppose that person is not a senior citizen, so I will claim the deduction of 40,000. But suppose, guys, I spent the 1,20,000, but 25,000 insurance claim is received. Insurance claim is received of 25,000. So this 25,000 will be reduced here, and guys, remaining only 15,000 deduction I will claim here. Only 15,000 deduction I will claim here. So what I am saying that 25,000 is an insurance claim. So here 1,20,000 is total amount spent. Second is a 40,000. So lower comes to 40,000. 25,000 insurance claim is received. So remaining is a 15,000. 15,000 deduction I can claim. You got my point or not? Yes. Now, here, like what assessee should do? So assessee should incur the expenditure on the treatment of the specified disease for himself or dependent relative. Dependent relative means spouse, brother, sister, children, mother, father, and for HUF, any dependent member of the HUF. Now guys, for an example, instead of the 25,000, suppose I receive the 55,000 from insurance company, then obviously if I reduce the 55,000, this amount will be the negative, then there is no need of any deduction. There is no deduction at all. This amount is a negative, so there is no deduction at all. You got my point or not? You understood my point or not? Yes sir, we have understood your point. So try to understand guys. Now we have discussed the three sections of the 80D series. One is the 80D, one is the 80DD, one is the 80DDB. Now guys, in the 80D, 80DD and 80DDB, 80D was Mediclaim, preventive health checkup and all. 80DD is for the HDR, handicap dependent relative maintenance, or maintenance or for the treatment. And 80DDB is the dil dehla dene wali bimari, and you are doing the treatment of a specified disease. Then deduction is allowed. Now guys, always remember, I am going to tell you one line that you have to remember. You know that this dependent word is used only in the 80D series. Means under section 80D, there was a dependent children. 80DD, there was a dependent relative. And 80DDB, there is a dependent relative. Guys, this dependent word is only in the 80D series. 80D, there was dependent children. 80DD, there is a dependent relative. 80DDB, there is a dependent relative. So remember, this 80D series only is having the dependent word. Other section don't have the dependent word. So dependent word is only in the 80D series. You will able to understand? Yeah. Next section is 80E. 80E is related to the educational loan, guys. Educational loan, this section says that suppose if you have taken the educational loan for the higher education, either higher education in India or higher education abroad, and higher education means any education after 12th is a higher education. So any educational course after 12th is called your higher education. So if higher education loan is taken after 12th education, any course is a higher education, you are doing that course in India or outside India, this deduction is available only to the individual. And guys, education should be for yourself or your spouse or your children or any student for whom you are a legal guardian. So guys, suppose I have taken the educational loan for my own study or my spouse or my children or any children, any student, I am a legal guardian for whom that education of that person. If I have taken the educational loan, then interest deduction is available here. So you can remember 80E is an educational loan, interest is allowed here. But guys, deduction will be allowed for the 8 consecutive year from the first year in which interest is paid. So suppose for an example, I have started paying the interest from this year, then this year I will claim the deduction. Next year interest, I will claim the deduction. Next year interest, I will claim the deduction. Next year interest, I will claim the deduction. So maximum 8 consecutive year, you can claim the deduction under this particular section. You got my point or not? Yes. So here eligible assessee is an individual assessee. Amount of deduction, interest amount for a period of 8 consecutive years starting from the year in which assessee start paying the interest. Deduction is allowed if loan is taken for the education of self, spouse or children or any student for whom assessee is a legal guardian. For any student for whom assessee is a legal guardian. You got my point or not? Yes. So this is the 80. Now guys, I will give you some homework today because some section we already discussed somewhere. You just have to read that section and just do 1 or 2 questions. Okay. So your homework is, because I will not teach you that section in the classroom. One is the 80 GGB and GGC. This is already we have done in the political party electoral trust. So if any donation is made to political party electoral trust, just read this section. Okay. Just read this much from here. And as well as the 80 JJAA. You remember 80 JJAA? Jamat A. 80 JJAA means if new employee is recruited and you know that new employee, whatever salary you have paid, 30% deduction is allowed here. And guys, you know that there are certain conditions that employee salary should not be more than 25,000 per month. That employee should be participated in the RPF. That employee should be worked for the 240 days or more in the previous year. So just do this section 80 JJAA in homework. So today 2 section you will do in the homework. One is the 80 JJAA and one is you will do this section 80 GGB GGC, 80 GGB GGC and 80 JJAA. This 2 section you will do in the homework. Okay. After that, some question also you will do in the homework. Just do that and you have to do it. Okay. So just question number 1 is homework. Just mark question number 1 is homework. Question number 1 is homework. Question number 1 is homework. One is the question number 1 is homework. After that, question number 2, 3, 4 we already did. After question number 1, question number 1 is homework. 2, 3, 4 we did. Question number 5 is homework. Just write question number 5 homework. Question number 6 homework. Question number 5, question number 6 homework. After 6, guys, after 6, just do the question number 10 is homework, but 10 you will do after reading that 80JJAA. Question number 10 is homework. 10 is homework. Done. Question number 10 is homework. Done. So that's enough for today from my side. Done. So this question you will do in the homework, whatever I have mentioned, question number 10 as well as the question number 6 and question number 5 and question number 1. So 5, 6, 1 and 10. These 4 questions are in homework. Okay. There are some doubt. Okay. Sir, why medical insurance premium for Mr. Yatin mother is not restricted to 25,000? Overall expenses should be capped. No, na. Nagappan, for parents there is a different 50,000. Na, matlab 25,000. Like 25,000 for the SSC, spouse and children. And for the parents there is a separate 25,000 or 50,000. Nidhi, yes. Done. So that's enough for today from my side. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the lecture. Okay. Done. Because we have target to complete in this week. Thanks a lot, people. That's enough for today from my side. See you. Bye.